The Greedy Cave on today's Wednesday Morning Drive. Hey everybody, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome back to another Wednesday Morning Drive. How are you? I am good. I'm doing really good. It is crazy warm for the month of March. I'm wearing a thin jacket here. It's somewhat ridiculous. Yeah, global warming's not a thing. Of course it's not. So aside from the unseasonable weather, and I'm missing my snow, things are going very, very good. Today is part 3 of our mobile role-playing game review series. I had to remember what the heck I was doing. Mobile role-playing game mini reviews. Over the past week, I've been playing The Greedy Cave by Avalon-Games. This is number 3. So, The Greedy Cave is a self-described roguelike. If you go back to 1, there's a couple of different types of role-playing games, right? There's the, Asian-style role-playing game, best typified by Final Fantasy, where they have a certain style of combat and certain mechanics that are a part of these types of role-playing games. There's, the story-driven ones where you go on quests and you do things like that. There's kind of like old-school Western role-playing games like Baldur's Gate and those where you control a party and you typically, third person and you explore and do quests and do it that way. There's the looting or collection style game, like Diablo-esque, as it were. And there's all these different styles of role-playing games. The Greedy Cave is a roguelike, and it harkens back to Rogue, one of the earliest computer-based role-playing games. And typified of Rogue is usually extreme to insane difficulty, where the most hardcore rogues, every movement costs you health, and you need food or you die, and they're just getting as far as you can into the game without dying is kind of the point. Another mechanic that typifies roguelikes is randomly generated levels, and so every level is a series of rooms and hallways and monsters and treasures that are randomly generated each time you play. So you get a lot of difference, and theoretically, right, infinite replayability because it's all random. In practice, not so much, but we'll get to that. And the other thing that really kind of typifies a roguelike is something that completely skipped my mind in the last little digression I had about the infinite replayability. Let's see, it was the insane difficulty, it was the random monsters. Oh, the other mechanic is that typically, not always, but typically, the gameplay progresses through a series of stacked levels that are on top of each other. It's not always that way. Sometimes the flavor text or flavoring of this mechanic is a little bit different, but you have a level, and you progress to another level, and you progress to another level, and they're chunked in that way. And it's almost always, I don't know if I'll say almost always, it's very, very often levels that you go downstairs that are stacked one above each, one on top of each other. And you start at the top and you climb the stairs and you go down, 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 and things get progressively harder. So that's pretty much what typifies that. I would say The Greedy Cave fulfills most of those checkboxes. It's absolutely a series of levels that are randomly generated or stacked on top of each other. It is not the hardest roguelike I have ever played. You don't have the, every movement point starves you mechanic. You have a bit more gear and leveling in The Greedy Cave than you do in a lot of roguelikes. And a lot, you level up and you gain different skills, and you have different classes and you do this. The way The Greedy Cave does it is you have your character, and you can get different gear, and you can enhance your gear, and you can get better gear over time, which is really cool. You can get different enchantment items, and you find enchantment tables in the dungeons, and you can increase your gear that way. And then you gain levels, and you get a series of points that you can distribute amongst 2 different paths, but it's really 4 different paths because you start in the middle and you can either go up and down on each of the 2 different ones. So 4 different branches. I wouldn't call them trees because they're linear, but it is kind of a skill tree type system. You have 4 different lines that you can just spend points to progress along. And you can get different abilities and, kind of customize your character and play style that way, which is really cool. You also have different attributes that you have. There's I think 3 core attributes for attack, defense, and magic ability, and then a series of 5. Let's see, fire, water, earth. I don't know the actual names. They're blue, red, green, yellow, and purple. I call them fire, water, plants, electricity, and magic. I don't know what they're actually called. They might have different names for those things. But you can buff them with either resist to those or extra damage to those. And different monsters have different types of damage they do and different vulnerabilities they have to the types of damage. So you can, kind of set up your character to deal with the monsters you find. And that's pretty it for the complexity of the player mechanic. Going through the play, you pretty much, just like any roguelike, you go in and you tap to, or you can have a little on-screen thumb keyboard, or you can tap to go to where you want. You have fog of war, so when you come in, you only see what's around you. Certain areas are very foggy, and you explore around and you kill the monsters that are in there. The monsters don't move. You do not regain health if you lose it, unless you have healing potions. Same with mana, unless you have mana potions. And I think there's skills that let you regain some mana or health when you kill enemies. So you do have to kind of plan. One of the effects of the mechanics of roguelikes, be it the, declining food or the, if you hit, you don't regain damage in the greedy cave, is that you have to kind of plan what your angle of attack is going to be. You can't just run around going crazy attacking things and then heal yourself if you haven't. You have to think ahead about, well, if I attack this monster, then I might not have enough healing because I'm low on potions to be able to handle things lower down. So maybe instead of killing lower level monsters and getting their loot, you want to save it and just beeline for the stairs as fast as possible to get to a lower level to then kill the monsters there. So those are the types of decisions you have to make. Now, in theory, it's kind of infinitely replayable. In practice, well, first of all, other things, good things about the Greedy Cave, things I like. The graphics, I love, love, love the aesthetic of the graphics. It's a really cool, it's kind of a cutesy looking game. Cutesy in a bad BA way, badass way. So, like, the little dudes have giant heads, and they're kind of cute little characters, but they also have mohawks and evil eyes and, like snaggle teeth. So, it's kind of a cool aesthetic they have, and you do see the armor you have as you put it on. It is a 2D style, top-down, tile-based presentation, unlike the previous 2 games, Hit and Eternium, that I had done, which were 3D, which does have the side effect of making the game much quicker to hop in and play, and you can the load times are faster and it's easier on your battery because it's 2D. So that's that. I do really, really like it. And it seemed like a really, really fun game to play. And the first couple times I was really, really enjoying it. The problem comes in on extended play, and as you play it more and more. And I played it for about a week, and I was already, frankly, it gets somewhat boring. As you go through the levels, you very quickly learn how the levels are generated. There's not a ton of variation, and it becomes very repetitive. Every so many levels, I think it's 10, you fight a boss monster, and then the levels change. But when the levels change, it's really just a sprite change. The wall textures change, and the monsters change. They gain some abilities, and they gain some, resistances and things like that. And the art is different, but they're kind of just the same old thing. There's not really any cool new mechanics that I got to. And that gets us to the second point, is that I was proceeding along and making great progress. I'm leveling my character, I'm going around, I'm killing things, I'm getting better gear, I'm making it along, and things are getting progressively harder, but I can handle it. And then all of a sudden, roundabout after one of the boss monsters, whose butt I kicked, because I was leveled up enough and good enough that I really defeated the boss without much problem at all, I hop into the next level of levels, and I instantly died. Not instantly, but I could not handle it. I hit a huge wall. Basically, it's a gear wall, because it's the stats and levels I have, and I was just not even near powerful enough to fight the monsters that were in there. So, I had to back out and kind of grind the previous levels to get better gear, and I went down, and the next level was still insanely difficult. So, it's just like you go from being, okay, this is fun, to, oh my God, I have no hope in the world. And so I did some Googling, and I found some recommended setups and discussions about different setups. And as usual, when I was just winging it the first playthrough, my build out was hardly optimal. So I made some tweaks on there, and it got a little bit easier, but it was still hugely difficult. So where I ended up as I, before I do this review, I'm at a place where all the levels previous to the last bot I fought are trivially easy. I just go in and I wipe the floor with everyone, and it takes time because you have to do the tapping and clicking, but I end up and I get all the gear from it. And I don't even lose any health. And all the gear I get from it is, not any more powerful than the gear I already have. I'm not getting any drops that are increasing my character. And then I go down to the next level, and it's a slog where I have to be super careful just to get through 1 to 2 levels, because the monsters are just hitting me so hard, and I have to, buy health potions to go in and just really it struggle to even get through 1 or 2 levels. And the gear that's dropping is not really that much better than the gear I already have. So I'm kind of stuck. I've hit a wall on how to progress. And I don't know if there is a pay mechanism where you can pay to buy gems to get things. I don't know if the way through this is, I don't know if this is a paywall. I don't know if really the only way to kind of progress is to cough up the money. I'm not going to do that. But maybe it is. But that's kind of where I am. Or maybe the wall is just, I'm just bad at gaming. I don't know, could be. But it really kind of sucked the fun out of it. I would have, if they want to get to that level of difficulty as the majority of the gameplay in the game, that would be cool. I could deal with that. And if you have the right mindset, that can be fun. But they need to have a more gentle transition from the intro levels to those levels, if that's what they are. The fact that it goes from trivially easy to, oh my God, I'm going to die on every move, level of split in the difficulty, it's not fun, and it just kind of spoiled the mood for me in this game. So that's basically how what I think of the game. It has a lot of potential. It's kind of cool. I love the art. I kind of love the gameplay, although it does get a bit repetitive. And unfortunately for me, there was this damn wall that I hit that kind of spoiled a lot of the fun of the game. So that's it. Maybe you can have better luck and you can figure out how to get through the wall and unlock the rest of the game, and maybe it gets better. I don't know. I got stuck. So if you do, if you pick it up, if you give it a try and you figure out how to get through, or if you're already a player and you know how to get through, feel free to let me know down in the comments. And I will see you next week with another game review. Not sure what's on deck. I'm going to be doing some looking on the Play Store today. So if you have any if you have any suggestions, also let me know down there. And I will see you next week. Until then, keep adventuring. Bye.